Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Improved Podcast, the official podcast of Classic Studios. I'm your host, Chase Collins, and I'm an aspiring screenwriter and all-around awesome guy. No, I'm just kidding. No, in all seriousness, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Improved Podcast. I'm so happy you're here with me. I hope it's a great Monday for you all, and you're starting the week off right already by listening to the Improved Podcast. Today we have a great episode for you. I am so excited. We are back with episode 5. I can't believe it's been 5 episodes, but at the same time, it feels like I've done more than 5 episodes with Elijah, with our series Creating a Short Film. He and I, we connected on r/screenwriting on Reddit about a year ago, and he pitched the initial idea. I wrote the script, and then I said, hey, I happen to be launching this podcast. Would you like to be on it? And so we decided to document the whole film that he created. And so I'm super excited that he was gracious enough to do this for me. Because, it's like, I know it's a kind of a big ask. Like, hey, do you want to document this whole process while you're learning how to create a short film? And he's like, has to be vulnerable and all of that. I know if you've been listening, you've heard all of that through the episodes. But this episode is so great because he just wrapped production and he's so happy, he's so over the moon, he's super excited, and it's great to see an awesome guy like him succeed and do well. And it's also he's doing well on something that I helped with. You know what I mean? I wrote the thing that he produced that's bringing him so much joy. It's that's cool, and I have a very small part in all of this. Of course, he's doing all of the heavy lifting, and I just get to leech off of him. It's oh, let me milk you for all you got, Mr. Elijah. Of course I'm joking. We'll see if I do another take of this. But there are, of course, time codes below if you want to jump around and skip to all the good stuff. But it's a great episode, so I hope you listen to all of it. And stick around to the end if you want to hear about my goals. Oh, and also, this is a reminder for you to set your goals. So with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And I will see you all at the end for the outro. Peace.
Improved Podcast. Improved Podcast. Improved Podcast.
What up, Craig?
Hello, Craig.
So yeah, man, last time we talked, you were knee deep in the middle of production for Dawn, and you were definitely feeling that. You were just in the process and feeling the struggles of, what production can actually be like. I guess it was sort of your first taste of that, but now it's been a couple of weeks, maybe even a month since we last talked, and you've wrapped. Is that right?
For the most part. So basically, some of our actors were study abroads and some of the crew were study abroads. So that kind of forced us to work in this really small timeline because basically we're shooting the film in Italy. So that forced us to work in a really small timeline. So we were able to wrap anything with these study abroads. Our lead is a study abroad. A lot of our crew was as well. So we were able to wrap the important parts. But there are certain things that I'm going to be filming with the resident students who will be at my university for the next semester, which is the semester I'm supposed to be editing. So I'm hopefully starting doing some editing now, but yeah, the bulk of the production work is finished. I'm able to relax. My head is clear. I've since rested. So happy about that.
Well, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it really was. There's actually some days where I was looking at the images, and I want to know what you think about the images, but there were some days where I was looking at these images and I was just damn, I forgot that day even happened because it was such a light shoot compared to the last few shoots were just insane. We had scene 8, which we were filming until 3 a.m. because or it wasn't 3 a.m. It was 12 because some actors didn't remember their lines. It was just a really ridiculous day. Wait, did I say scene 8? Okay.
Yeah.
So scene 8 was the office scene. I'm pretty sure everyone remembered their lines. Like scene 8 was actually pretty easygoing.
Nice.
Um, that last scene was insane. I'm going to tell you about that, but I meant scene 2. So scene 2 with Rodrigo, who we've
Oh yeah,
now
yeah, yeah.
changed the whole character and everything. But
Uh-huh.
with Rodrigo and Dax, that one was an insane one. We were up until like 12, like filming that. And then the scene before that, like it was just like that last week was so insane. It was like back to back to back to back. Um, but yeah, there's so much to say. So what did you think about the stills that you've seen? Like you've seen some of the process and some of the
Yeah,
crew and everything.
dude, it was awesome, man. Like, uh, it was just really cool. Like some of the shots look fantastic, and like I messaged you about Ethan, his the person you cast for that character, I think like really captured that spirit. It's like, oh, he looks like a little bit charming, a little bit happy, but then like there's certain tones to his, like, I don't know, even in the photo I thought it's like, oh man, this guy could be a bit of a sneak, a bit of a slime ball, which I think like perfectly, captured who that character is. And beyond that, just the aesthetic, it's very clear you guys have like a artistic vision, whether that's between you and like the cinematographer, that are like locking down what the look of the film is going to be. So it was like really cool, like seeing it come to life. And it's fun. I don't know. Uh I don't know. It was just really cool. For a lot of the stills that you sent, it's, you're working with the actors who you have, and they're like all, I'm assuming like students, the majority like students who you're working with. So it does like trend younger, right? But
Mhm.
then like you throw in one of those older actors, and it's like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. I don't know. It makes me excited, for sure.
Yeah. There's also like some actors who are like actually older. So Francesca, she came back to the university, so like that wasn't her first time at the
Oh,
university. So she's also like kind of older, and she was able to really sell that character. Like I think we have a good variety of age, but yeah, Ethan was definitely like the oldest,
who
and
is she playing?
she's playing Kathy actually. So
Oh, Kathy, the like
mhm,
secretary or whatever.
yeah. Oh my God, but that rap party, that was so crazy. So I left out some stills. It wasn't really a rap party. It was, oh my God. I kind of want to just talk about that for a minute because it was such a like wonderful experience. But that was the time that she was there like the longest. She was really helping us out. And she's worked on a lot of films before and a lot of like theater, and she's making her own film right now. And so like she understood like the process of like, okay, we're gonna have to film a lot of b-roll here, we're gonna have to film a lot of like ADR, that stuff. So she was fine with coming in and working for a long period of time. um but yeah, basically like what happened was Ethan's the most experienced because he actually has some, or Eric, he actually has some like experience in Hollywood, and
Oh,
he's done
cool.
some writing, some acting, he's done like quite a few things. And we were all like really worried because basically when we filmed scene, I think it was 11, which was like that week before, like we were up until like 3 a.m. But like basically we tried to get him out of there as soon as possible because he clearly had more experience, and he clearly like was kind of uncomfortable with certain times, like if a shoot was going on too long, or there was like some miscommunication or something like that. So we were like,
Mhm.
stressing out. And then basically, if you saw the stills for scene 8, we had to clean my friend Logan's apartment. So we got there basically like an hour before we were supposed to start shooting. And like we just like, it was like me, Alex, which is the lead, and then it was Logan, and Logan is playing Jim. And it was like all of us like just rushing to clean this apartment, like trying to make sure everything's ready for Eric to show up. Eric shows up, and there's no Francesca. There's also another extra for the office scene, which I didn't get to throw into the stills. Um, Literally, like they were just like, we were missing people. Like the timeline was a little bit messed up, and we were all like really worried. And then the assistant director, Sydney, her parents showed up and with everybody. So it was
Uh,
like this moment where like literally no one was there and then everyone was there at once and I was like, "Oh god." But yeah, we just like for that scene because we had so much to film, we like stuffed them in the room for a little bit.
eh,
Not the parents. The parents went home, but like we stuffed all the crew and everything in the room and it was just like all these people who worked on this film and we were just like like eating all this food and having beers and it was just such a really nice experience and like there were people cooking and like bringing their own food and everything and Logan, the guy who owns the apartment, which is like supposed to be the office, he was saying like this is the most like at home his apartment has ever felt. And it's just
uh,
like I couldn't stop like just hugging people and like telling people thank you and everything like that, like just because like we had worked so hard for so many hours to make this film and like now it's into the editing, which to me is like the easy part, you know? So like
right.
yeah, I mean it's been such an emotional journey and like you saw like last time we talked, I was drained, man. I was so
Yeah.
out of it. But I think it was definitely worth it. I mean, I'm so ready to get to work. So yeah, I've had some time to recharge.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad you took like a couple of when I messaged you a couple of times like over the holidays, just like checking in on you and stuff, and no response. I was like, he's just recharging, man. He's taking his time. He deserves it. So I'm glad you took that time and were able to recharge, get recentered, and are ready to dive into um the post production process. I guess that's what it is now.
hmm hmm For the most part, yeah, we're doing half and half right now, but yeah. Um gonna try to get that finale scene worked out so I can send it to my brother who's going to do soundtrack. So I'm
Oh,
very
nice.
excited about that. Yeah.
And that's gonna be the finale scene. Is that the one that's, like, mostly CGI or what?
Um so that's a scene, yeah, where Dax is like basically riding. He's in the outskirts of the city and he's riding in. He's saying like it's finally time to come home, like 10 years later or whatever. And then you see like this massive like dystopian cyberpunk landscape. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can pull it together. But I don't really see that that would be something that I couldn't do, seeing as like I'm planning on implementing certain elements like that throughout the story.
Mhm.
Um, just because it's like it helps like build the world, and I think at some point like as long as the editing is good, the audience is kind of going to be used to seeing these like CG elements and like kind of associating it with like the narrative of the film. So by the time they see that grand finale, it's not going to be like something crazy. It's going to be like, oh wait, this is like actually the world that they're living in. This is like the result of everything that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my idea is hopefully I can like mesh the footage together, but I really think I will be able to. Like, we've we have like nearly a terabyte of footage. Like, we have so
Wow.
much good stuff to work with. So
Man, that's gonna be tough to pick the shots that you need that are, like, 100% necessary for the film and everything like that. It's gonna be
yeah,
a challenge, especially when
yeah.
you have so much goodness.
I think that's like a good problem to have though.
Yeah.
As an editor who's had not enough footage, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
The real kicker is going to be audio though, because we did not have a clapper the entire film. Um,
That's gonna
it's
be tough.
going to
Yes,
be real
audio
tough.
syncing, I've heard some horror stories about that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any programs either that help you with it, so we'll see. But honestly, that's something that comes last. Like that's something that after you've done the editing, after you've done all the effects and everything, then you do the audio. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not really too worried about it.
That's interesting. So what I've been doing, I don't even know why I do this, but whenever I film in videos, I just like do a clap by myself, and
Mhm.
that's what I use.
Yeah.
Did you guys implement anything like that, or is it just like, all right, action?
Well, the thing is, basically, we didn't have like a rule book for how to make a film. I
Hmm.
had all my knowledge, our cinematographer, assistant cinematographers, they all had their knowledge. We've all worked on projects before, so we had like a general idea. And so I think because of that, like expectation of ourselves, we kind of just assumed we could wing it. And sometimes we did a physical clap, sometimes we had a clapboard, and sometimes we had nothing at all. The reason that you want a clapboard though is like if you're doing video, then you don't really need one. But if you want a clapboard because it tells you, what take something is, what, shot this is and everything like that. And like you might think it's cumbersome and in the moment it might be, but it's so good to have someone who's actually doing that because that way you can just look at the footage. The first frame is like you know which audio slate it is and everything like that. And
Hmm.
yeah, it helps so much, and it's unfortunately something that we didn't do. But I think like this film will excel in so many other areas that I'm not really too worried about it. Like I'm sure I'll manage, and we've all like just done so much to make this movie like as good as possible. So
Yeah.
it's all right, you know. Like
Yeah.
it's just gonna be a bit of a pain for me, but I'll work through it.
And how did you guys capture audio? Was that like did you have like lavaliers or like boom mics or what did y'all do?
Yeah, it was all lavs. Because I think like my whole idea with this film, and like I didn't even use any lights or anything like that. Like there's one scene where, or a few scenes where I might have, but generally the idea there was like just keeping it as authentic as possible and as like handheld as uh kind of like voyeuristic as possible. Like you're kind of there with the
Yeah.
actors and with the story. And there's something I actually learned later on, which if anyone has an idea to do something like this, if you're gonna do a story which is like very grassroots, like whatever, a good thing to do with lighting is keep in mind like where your sources of lights are because I didn't realize this until literally like one of our last shoots that you kind of you have the option to sculpt with lighting, even if you're using
Mm.
ambient lights, in the environment. But you have to be aware of where your lights are, and we did it to some extent. But like to be honest, like there are certain scenes which I would have loved to have moved the actors over just a few feet, and it would
Oh
have
yeah.
really helped the scene. So
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Those the things you learn like as you go and for the next
mhm,
time, the next project or whatever, you'll be able to implement those lessons learned.
definitely, definitely.
That's sweet. So what are the scenes that you have like remaining to shoot, I guess? I'm curious about that.
Mhm. Well, okay, so we didn't do for scene 4 and 5, which are the scenes with Jim and Lacey.
Mhm.
Um, we didn't do POV, which I wanted to do one with just regular cameras and then one POV because I figured, um, we were filming it and then we were going to do both versions just in case one for some reason doesn't work, like just it isn't like feasible for the story or whatever. And I always wanted it to be POV like the whole time. But there was like that suspicion that maybe we should film it not POV just in case they can't get it in one take or something like that. So we have like more backup footage.
Mhm.
So I have to reshoot those scenes in POV because I didn't shoot them in POV because basically that shoot ended up taking longer than I wanted it to. So we ended up just wrapping, and then I was like, oh okay, well the actors for Jim and Lacey are going to be here in January and
Nice.
February, so yeah, we're just going to go back to it then. And then there's scene 10 where Dax arrives at the warehouse, and those are two
Mm.
scenes that I have to film. Um, Scene 10 is it's not really a scene though; it's like a snippet. So you just got to write that in, but it'll be easy. And then we have to do B-roll. So B-roll, I mean, I'm probably gonna film people on motorcycles. Probably gonna film like areas of the city, just like people like hanging out. Like there's also this thing where if you wait for the bus at a certain time during the day, the buses are so packed that it's like you can't even breathe. They're just like people like lining every single inch of the bus, and I think that'd be cool to film, like just in case. There's like all kinds of stuff like that in Rome. Also, like I want to do a sound tour at some point because like there are just so many unique sounds like anywhere you go, and if you
Mm.
record those, there's no telling like what kind of effect it'll have on your film. So early in the morning, there's like church bells, like I think at like 9 a.m. and then they have the same ones at like 12 a.m. I'm pretty sure. And so I was thinking like it'd be really cool if I recorded the dawn bells for the
That's
opening,
cool.
and then you just like hear
Yeah.
these church bells and then the movie starts. Like I just feel like something like that is super useful. And there's like always sounds everywhere you go, and you just have to be able to look out for them.
Yeah. That's cool. No, I didn't sound is such an important part of a movie that
Yes.
often like kind of goes overlooked, but it's the having bad sound will like remove the audience from the movie
Hmm.
immediately, and having good sound can like really engage the audience, and that's why like having good audio recordings, like whether it's through lavaliers or boom mics, and also
Yeah.
the having a good score. I'm super excited to hear what your brother cooks up. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? No, good.
Oh no, I was gonna say the labs are, they're not the best. They're the universities though.
Mm-hmm.
They're what we had, and it's one of those things where I will do absolutely everything I can to make the sound as good as possible, but I'm not really expecting that to be one of the film's strong points. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, there's like no control we had over that. Like the only thing I could have done is probably buy like professional mic equipment, which I wasn't gonna do on top of like the rest of the budget for the film.
No.
So
Yeah. I had a question. I forgot it though.
mm.
Hold on. It'll come to me. Oh, what are you gonna do for like the voiceover sequences? Or when I know like in the beginning and I think at the end there's like some voiceover that Dax has. What's did you guys already capture that audio or what's the plan for those?
So I kind of forgot about those entirely. I was so wrapped up in filming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but luckily, Alex, he said that he's fine with recording something. He has like mic equipment. He's fine with recording something and just sending it to us. Um, so we're still drafting that final speech that he gives, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking like with the way that it's all looking right now, that might be dedicated to the end actually, like to after the film, after the credits and everything like that. There's so many variations that I'm thinking for this finale scene. Like I could have him reading it as he's driving, up to the destination. I could have it where he's reading it afterwards, and then maybe like during the credits we see like stills of like what Rome looks like in the year 3000 or whatever, or
Yeah.
2100. Like there's all kinds of different things, and it's really just about like just getting something on the page, and then we will work with that. But I definitely think we're gonna still stick with the final speech. I just don't know like how we're gonna implement it quite yet.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I wrote in those like voiceovers at the very beginning so that when
Mhm.
it comes around to like this big speech, it's like, okay, we've heard like this type of voiceover before it.
Oh, okay. That's very smart. Yeah. People were wondering about that, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it. That's Chase's little touch. I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah, it was so like maybe in, the ending or the finale speech, it's like maybe it starts off with those like four lines and then we realize like, oh, he's sort of been reading this whole speech like throughout the movie or something like that.
Mm.
Um Not exactly, but it would, give the feel or the flavor of like, oh, he's sort of like telling a story almost.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um
yeah, man. I mean, I'm super happy with everything that we got, and dude, you came out with like a banger of a story. It was just small scale enough for me to actually like film something for my senior capstone. I can't actually believe that we got it done. Like it's actually kind of insane to think about. I haven't sat down and realized that yet. Like
yeah,
the hard part's done, you know?
yeah.
Like
That's so hype, man. Like once you get like a rough cut and stuff, like I'm sure you're gonna be
yeah.
like, whoa, like what? Excuse me? How did this
Dude,
happen?
so one of my favorite things, I don't know why they don't do this in cinema anymore, but one of my favorite things is when they just have like a moment from the character and then it's like the actor's name and in the credits before the credits. And so okay, so
I
it's
don't
like
know if I know what that is.
okay, like let's say like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like he worked in a film, it would like when the film ended, you'd see like a little moment of him and then, his name. And it's something that they did in like the 90s or the 80s, and
Mm,
I've always wanted them to bring that back in film.
that's
And
cool.
so I was like doing that today and I was like so happy. I was just like
That's awesome.
I'm so excited to make this film, dude. Like
Yeah,
yeah, so right now I'm doing a very rough cut, but it's like it's already just like got me like, thinking about it and just like fiending over like, oh, I can't wait to the next session when I'm just like just in it and just doing it.
that's cool. That's really cool, man. That's really exciting. I'm super happy for you, and I'm excited to see. I've only seen stills. It looks good, and I'm just excited to see like, oh man, what does this look in moving picture?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are. A lot of people
Yeah,
are,
that's so
for sure.
sweet, man. Uh, I don't really have anything more. I wanted to keep this episode sort of short. But do you have
Okay.
anything else you wanted to like touch on or go over? Or, I know you said you had so much you wanted to talk about, so like lay it on.
Yeah, I mean, it might now is probably the best time to talk about it, to be honest, because it's like I mean, when else is it going to be so fresh, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just
yeah.
so like relevant to my life. Like even if I revisit this in a few months, I'll probably forget about it because I'll probably be so into the editing and my own other projects that it's just going to be like, oh, production. I don't even remember what that's about. I mean, I'm lucky that I got to catch so much, footage of all the actors and the crew. Like, every moment I could, I was like trying to get them to step aside and like give me a little brief thing about, what they did and what their role was in the film and what they understand about the film. And I
Oh,
got
that's
like a
great.
variety of answers, and it was just like really cool. Like, I guess like if there's any one thing that I want to say, it's insane to me that so many people work so hard on this, and it feels like one of those things where it's like it wasn't just a project, it wasn't just like a video, it wasn't just like a movie. Like sometimes you get to be a part of something that feels genuinely like magical, and I'm not saying this because this film is going to be amazing or anything like that, but like sometimes like you just work with like the right set of people and you work in the right circumstances, and it's like lightning in a bottle. I
Mm,
have no idea how the film is going to turn out. I know for a fact that there was something like magical about like working on this thing. And like even the fact that I met you on Reddit, like I mean there's just so many things. It's just like the stars had to align for this film to get made. It's like I've tried so hard to like do certain projects and like it never really panned out. And then this thing, like it just like fell into my lap, and my mom, like I was just saying, "Ah, I'm not gonna do it, and I told you I was not gonna do it, and you're like, I might do it for myself anyways, and then
yeah.
my mom was like, you should definitely do it. Like I was like, it took no convincing. I was just like, all right, you know,
Yeah.
and like that's the story. Like I don't even know how this film is gonna turn out, but I have such a good feeling about it. Um, because everything's in its right place right now. And I think it's like definitely taken me feeling out what that's like for me to like be in this position of like leading this team, getting everyone together. Like I've had several moments on set like where I was just like I can't do this, and I needed to walk away, but never did I ever feel like giving up. I was always like this thing has to happen because so many people are like just waiting on it and so excited for it. And I mean like
Mhm.
it's just like whether it turns out good or bad, like it was a magical experience, and I'm going to do everything I can to like bring justice and honestly, like to do right by like everyone who I worked hard on this film, and who is waiting to see like a good end product. And like, I mean, I hope it's something. I hope it's not nothing.
It definitely won't be nothing, man. That was really beautiful, dude. That's so
Thank you.
aw that's so great. Like, I'm so happy for you. It shows, I talked about this last time, but you've totally,
Mhm.
like, transformed as a person, and I think, really stepping into that leadership position, like, you
Yeah.
had to do that in order for this film to be a success, and I think it takes a special type of person to be able to do that, and you were able to, fill those shoes, and it's really exciting and encouraging, and I hope, like, whatever the next project is that you're gonna work on, like, you'll be ready for it. Like, I know you will be, so it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know how my brain works. I'm like already on to the next thing, but um, I am gonna really take my time with this and do everything I can to like make it as good as possible. But even beyond that, like, also just thinking about the possibility of making a project about like the production process, and like, it's just like I'm just so man, I'm just like so relieved that it got done. And like, it's
Mhm.
like we have to do some more stuff, but I'm just so happy that the bulk of the work is done. And I mean, like even the casting, dude, even the casting, like our lead, literally, like we didn't have a lead when we filmed the finale, and I know it's not so unusual, but the fact that he just came out of nowhere, he did this audition. He did an amazing job in the audition, and literally during like us talking, like there was this dynamic of like he understood that I was like leading this project, and I was like also kind of mysterious because I'm never on campus. I'm always doing my own thing.
Mhm.
And so he was like kind of intimidated, I think. And then by the end of us talking, like having our first conversation, like I saw the interview and the audition and everything. We had this first conversation, and then at the end he was like, "I'm Dax, right?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Like I gotta see with your schedule and all that stuff." And we just made it work. And
Oh, that's awesome.
um, yeah, I'm just oh man, I'm almost to tears right now. I was so lucky to work on this thing, and I'm just so excited to really like do something cool with it, uh, at whatever capacity.
Yeah. Well, you made it happen, dude. And what did you get your cameo filmed?
I did, yeah. That was
Yes.
that was like some of the stills that we're missing. So there's a scene where Kathy, walks Dax into the office, right? So I
Mhm.
had whenever they get out of the elevator and then they start walking down the hall, there's a moment where it's me and another student, Talia, and we're just like talking like it's supposed to be like tech bros. And we're
Like,
talking
oh,
and
tech
she
bros.
she leads me into like a different, office and we just go in there and that's like my short cameo, but I was like, you know what? I'm down in extra. I might as well do it here. Like, why not?
Yes.
So
That's awesome, man.
hopefully it turns out. I think it will. I mean, I I was just like this whole time I was like I'm not gonna get a cameo. Like I don't know where I'm gonna put myself. And then it just
Yeah.
like worked out just like everything else. So yeah.
Dude, great stuff. That's so exciting, man. I'm so happy for you. I you're right. Like, there's so many people excited for this film, and I'm definitely one of them. I can't wait
Mhm.
to see how it turns out, and just all of that. It's really cool, really encouraging, and man, yeah. Whenever you got another project or you need a script for it, dude, let me know. I'll be happy to volunteer some
Dude,
service.
I mean, you know me, like it takes a village and I definitely like plan on my next project to like be no less, you know, sizable.
Hmm.
Like, I'm always going to want to include as many people as possible in all my works. And it's just like I think there's something special about it. It just like connects you to like this deeper sense of purpose when you're doing something for someone that you know, and it's like something that like couldn't get done without you. It's like I'm not just asking people off the street to work on this. I'm asking people who I've met, who I've talked to, who I've worked with before, who I know have some kind of skill or talent in certain areas. Um, like the original assistant director who we were working with, that's what I had her on the project as. She told me she did directing for like 5 years, and she worked on like live theater and all this stuff. I don't remember exactly the extent, like what she told me, but she told me that she had some experience. And so I literally was just like, look, I'm trying to get as many people on this as possible, and you seem to have like, what it takes, and you seem to really care about this kind of stuff. So if you want to, direct for some scenes, like, come work with us. And she ended up doing more camera work, but it was still like really, really cool to like just have that happen. And I think like it's been like that the whole time. Like I've just been like pulling people that I know, just like please work on this with me, not because I like can't find anyone else, but because I think that you'd be perfect for it. And like it does take a village, and I want everyone on this. I want the credits to be long. I want everyone to know their role. I want like I don't know. I just like it's not about me. That's how I genuinely feel. I feel like it's about all of us and all the hard work we all put into it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's so great, dude. Beautiful. No, dude, it's beautiful. I mean, man, it's so funny. It's night and day from last time we chatted. Just you're in like a mode of reflection now as opposed to just like going through it, and it's awesome. It's
Dude,
great
I
to
can't
hear.
believe how mopey I was last time. Like how like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Like I haven't had any sleep. Like I was on Red
Yeah,
Bulls and that was it. That was the only thing keeping me alive those last weeks.
that's
Like
intense. Yeah,
yeah.
that's super wild. Um, but yeah, you did it. You came out on the other side, and you're better for it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm excited to see this project, and I don't know if there's anything you need from me. Like, I'm definitely happy to help, and I would like to keep on, doing these podcasts throughout that editing process,
Hmm.
post production, all the way through the release date.
I might
Man,
even be able to do like a screen share at one point and walk you through kind of how I'm doing the editing. Even if your viewers can't see it, it might be good for them to understand kind of what goes into it, if that's something you think they'd be interested in. Um,
yeah, I think that could be cool. We could maybe do. I don't know. I could like do a screen recording or something like that, and we can.
yeah, I mean, even just audio, like I mean, so much of editing is like theory and experience, and it's like you don't really have to show anyone what you're doing while editing. It's more about like if you can put into words like how
Hmm.
you're doing it, because that's the thing is like a lot of editing is theory and experience, but a lot of it is just feeling.
Mhm.
But if I can express to you like visually, well, like going through it, how this process got done, what the steps I took were, it might be fine if there's no video element.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool, podcast topic. I think that'd be sick. I would definitely be interested. And dude, I know I mentioned this to you last time, but whenever you get to a point when you have like enough footage together, or you have like certain clips that you think would be fit for a trailer, send it my way, dude. I wanna take my hand at cutting together a trailer or something like that. I think that'd be a lot
Hell
of fun.
yeah, dude.
A cool
I mean,
exercise.
I can send you if okay, I can send you like the rough cut whenever I finish it, and then you can start working with that. And then like if it's really good, then whenever I lay in all the effects and everything and the color grading, we can just keep your edits the way they were. If you send me the project file and
Okay.
we can just work with that. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have you on that. I feel like that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I wanna like dive into I wanna create like a thriller type of trailer, because it's sort of like a psychological thriller. There's a lot of
Mhm.
like stuff going on with Dax and his
Oh,
psychology and everything like that. I think it would
I'm
be
telling
fun
you
to
right now, you can make it work. Like, so literally that thing that I was talking to you about where I'm like highlighting the actors, like there were just like these cuts that like just with the music and with the cuts, like they just got progressively like more intense. And then also you see the actions are getting more intense. And it was like I was thinking like, damn, I wish I could just like do like a cut, like a montage. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So like you definitely like there's gonna be the kind of footage that you can turn into a montage for sure. For sure.
that's cool.
For a trailer. Um
Oh man, and
I'll
get
make
those
sure all the
bells
audio and
going, dude.
sounds and yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll make sure
Oh yeah,
everything's there for you to play around with.
dude, that would be so sick. When do you think this project is gonna come out?
Um, well, okay, so I think the rough cut should be due like March, March-ish, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna try to get it so much sooner because like I mean you already see how much I want this like out the doors, I want people to see it. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to be sleeping on this project, so I have like no idea. Also, like I have a really bad tendency to like expect myself to be done with something at a certain time, and then I'm done later or earlier. Or
Hmm.
earlier. So, um, I'm gonna hold my tongue on this, but I'll say like definitely like no later than June, no later than May. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's sweet, man. Yeah, May, dude, that's crazy. That's like what, 6 months from now, 5 months from now.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
exciting. I'm so pumped, dude. Oh my gosh, it'll be like over a year of working on this project. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's not even like including all the extra elements like the project of the production process or the trailers and the marketing materials and going through and talking to people on their podcasts about this film and about what it's been like. So this is really just the beginning. I mean, this is like we're in book one of Dune. We just finished book one.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
So
that's sweet. Man, I'm so excited for the rest of it. What's to come, dude? It's gonna be exciting. Oh man. But yeah, that's super sweet. Anything else you want to talk about before we say bye to Craig?
now I think we can say bye to Craig now. I think that's pretty much what's been on my mind in regards to this film.
All right. Well, sounds good, man. Congratulations again. This so proud of you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. It's been a fun time.
Yeah, you did it. All right. Bye, Craig.
Bye, Craig.
Oh, hello. What is up, y'all? I hope you guys liked that podcast. I've really enjoyed, recording it, and then I've really enjoyed editing it and listening back to it, cuz oh gosh, it's just like inspiring. I feel like I needed to re-listen to this episode at exactly this right time, because I'm, starting a new project and everything like that. So I hope it inspires you as well. But I did promise an update from me, so I do want to give that as far as my goals and projects and all of that. So if you remember from last week, I just finished writing my second screenplay, so I'm super excited. I actually made a post about that on r/screenwriting, and I got so much love and support, and that was great to see from that community to, like come together and just support little old me who's working on my second screenplay. It's funny. I had like a little interaction with someone who commented like, "Hey, I just finished writing my 12th," and I was like, "Oh gosh, that's crazy." And if this took me like 6 months to write, if I wrote 10 more, gosh, it'd be 5 years later. It's like, wow, that's wild to think about. I gotta pick up the pace. So that's the lesson I learned, I guess. But right now I am in the rewrite phase of my first screenplay. Yeah, so finished my second screenplay, and now I'm gonna go back to my first one after taking a little bit of break, and I'm sort of creating a plan. I'm like creating an outline of how to tackle this edit, and what I'm gonna do, trying to be a little methodical with it and establish like okay, step A, if I follow this, step A, step B, step C, I will accomplish my goal of having a final draft of this little document, or at least a third draft, right? We'll see how it goes though. So yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing like a full breakdown of like my editing process, and what that's gonna really look like. Maybe in a couple weeks I'm gonna do that. So look forward to that. It's funny, the first thing on my list to do of like editing is to finish writing the screenplay. So technically, like the screenplay is not done yet because it's a musical and there's 2 songs that I haven't written yet. So that's gonna be like my first step. But for me, or at least for writing these 2 songs, it's like proving to be difficult. I don't know why. It's like I can't find a hook, or I can't find like a melody that I really want to stick with and write like a full song to. So I'm working on that, and in the background I'm kind of making my edits as I'm thinking about what these songs are going to sound like. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on right now. I'm excited to start, getting into like the major edits, like the major like rewrites with restructuring and maybe adding subplots and whatnot. But that's about it. I'm also still doing like some professional research on like the professional side of screenwriting, which is way different than like the screenwriting side of screenwriting. So that's been a learning experience. I don't know if I really like that as much, but it's interesting and I have a lot to learn, so I'm excited to learn more. And fortunately, I have like a lot of work to do before I even have to start worrying about like getting a manager, getting an agent, or selling a script. I gotta figure out how to write before I actually get into that. But I think that is about it from me. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I hope you all achieve your goals. And if you have any projects or anything you want to like talk to me about, shoot me an email at theimprovedpodcast@gmail.com. I'm kind of there just chilling. You can also follow on Instagram at Classic Studios if you want to. I don't really plug that page too much, but hey, go ahead and follow there if you want on Instagram. I also want to give a shout out to Green Bean for all of our musical intros and outros. You can find them at Green Bean Music on Instagram and other places, I'm sure. I want to say thank you to you for listening. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review. If you would like to leave a 5-star review, that would be great because I will then read it out loud on the podcast. All right, everybody. I think that's it for me. I hope you set your goals this week. I hope you achieve your goals this week. And I will talk to you all next Monday for another episode of the Improve Podcast. Goodbye.